this movie could have just been called the Steven Spielberg story, really, because it's just a story of his life.
And anything major that happened in the movie actually happened in his real life.
It's fictionalized, but all the things that happened in the movie, his relationship with his parents, his mom in real life had short blonde hair. She played the piano. I knew that his parents got divorced.
I've been hiding from this story since I was 17 years old. Everybody sees me as a success story, but nobody really knows who we are until we're courageous enough to tell everyone who we are.
And if you look at Spielberg's movies, he used movies as kind of like a therapy to put his real life into the movies.
I put a lot of things in my way of this story. I told this story in parts and parcels all through my career. E.T. has a lot to do with the story. The Close Encounters has a lot to do with the story. But I never had the courage to hit this story head on.
You can see this in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The marriage is falling apart. You can see it in E.T. There's already been a divorce. It's almost like E.T. The alien is like a proxy parent for Elliot because he's missing his father. There's a subtext like that in a lot of his films. War of the Worlds, Tom Cruise has that strained relationship with his kids because of divorce. So I don't want to spoil the movie because you may not know this is the story of Steven Spielberg's life, and this is what happened to him. I'm not sure what exactly they changed, but the name of the family is not Spielberg, it's Fabelmans, and it just shows you how he fell in love with movies as a child. He was taken to see The Greatest Show on Earth, 1952, that train wreck, which was at the time one of the greatest, special effects moments in cinema. That train wreck was monumental for the 50s. But he was taken to see that movie, and you can see him as a child being impacted by this amazing spectacle on screen. Cecil B. DeMille is known for spectacle, right? He did Ten Commandments, and he did a King of Kings and movies like that. So, and then you see later as he's getting older, he gets his own camera. He learns to make movies, and all the things that you see in the movie were actually what Spielberg did in real life. Where he made war films, because his dad was in World War II, so he was fascinated by that. He's in the theater with his friends watching a John Ford Western. He goes and makes a Western, and he's inspired by that. So if for a person that loves movies, especially if you're a Spielberg fan like myself, I'm a Spielberg fan. He's pretty much been my favorite director since I was 7 years old, and I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark in the theater. There wasn't anything in the movie that really surprised me. Some of the stuff in the middle, when he was in high school, and some of that, I don't know if that was all made up, if that was fictionalized, or if that was based on real stuff. I didn't know any of that, but the basics of the story I knew. That movie's for me. That's what I think when I'm watching this. They made this movie for me. I know this story. I know about his love of movies and what drove him to be one of the greatest directors of all time. One, it's the Steven Spielberg story, and two, it's Steven Spielberg's love letter to movies.
And my wife, Kate, was always saying, you have to tell this story. And I figured out when I turned about 74 years old, I said, you better do it now. You better do it now. So, I'm really, really happy I did.